We're going to be playing Darkwing Duck as part of the Disney Afternoon Collection. No, we're not quitting. Here's the thing, though. When I started up this game, I was planning on playing the Little Mermaid NES game that I rented when it launched back on the NES. Here's the thing. I stupidly thought that the Little Mermaid video game was part of this Disney Afternoon Collection, and it's not. Yeah, in retrospect, it makes sense because Little Mermaid was not a Disney Afternoon cartoon. It did get a CBS series, I think in 1992, which I rarely saw. I don't remember it being that good anymore. We'll talk more about the Little Mermaid at some other point, if not later on in this video. But I'm gonna do a research stream for Darkwing Duck instead, a game that I have actually never played before, at least not officially. I played it off and on when I downloaded this collection just to kind of see if it works. So I have a cape shield. What's the cape shield for? Can I switch those buttons around? We'll probably figure that out. How to play Darkwing Duck. Thundergas, yeah. This is a pretty conventional side-scrolling shooter, but apparently it had kind of a Mega Man vibe. So it was kind of an easier sell than most Disney Afternoon. Well, let me put it this way. Ducktales seemed kind of difficult because of the pogo jumping mechanic. Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers was too easy. But Darkwing Duck was Capcom basically doing a Mega Man thing. Yeah, the stage select and pretty conventional platforming in the Mega Man style. Does it ever say what Darkwing's cape can be used to block many items? Okay, yeah, because a piece of cloth will actually block stuff in this game, I guess. You may find the go signal. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Yeah, if you get hit by an enemy, you're invincible. Yeah, let's pretend you played a video game before. Duck. Yeah, I would say crouch, but yeah, we'll say duck. Ooh, a time attack. I don't think that's going to be terribly important. This game actually got a cover, I want to say, on Nintendo Power. I might still have that Nintendo Power issue. Again, this game came out the tail end of, 1992. This game came out, I think, just before the Super NES launched in the United States. I want to say it came out, this might have come out Memorial Day of 1992. I don't remember. I want to say the show premiered on ABC, on the ABC network here in America and in syndication in 1991. My dates are a bit off. Because I remember Tailspin, it was DuckTales, officially, technically, it was DuckTales and Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, and then I think the Disney Afternoon officially started in 1990 when this show premiered, and they put Gummy Bears at the 3 p.m. time slot here in the DC area. But I also believe, so it was what? It was Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, then Tailspin at the end. And then eventually they just added Darkwing Duck, and that became the 4:30 show. And then they would just kind of slide all the older shows up 1/2 hour and then put the new show in the 4:30 time slot. Which I think was ideal, because here in the DC area they would air Ninja Turtles at 5. So that was how you made money if you were a syndicated channel back then. You aired the Disney Afternoon after school, and then you aired Ninja Turtles at 5, and that's how you made your money. Selling Chuck E. Cheese commercials and Kellogg's Frosted Flakes commercials to kids, inevitably. So as I said, this game kind of has a Mega Man vibe, so you're allowed to select stages, which again, in 1992 was kind of a big deal, because the only games that were really doing it were Mega Man games. And I think a couple of other games had a stage select feature, but for the most part, stage selects were not common in video games back then. I always used to start on the bridge too, by the way, because I think that's where Nintendo Power said to start playing the game. So apparently it was the easier of the 3 stages. But this game was not considered terribly difficult. But it was reasonably well regarded by Nintendo Power's evaluators. I think the game got 3.9s out of 5 in all categories, which is very good for them. Basically, the game scored 4s all around, 4s across the board. Okay, there was some jerkiness to the scrolling, so that's somewhat disappointing. But again, I mean, I'm playing on a quad-core laptop. Actually, I'm playing on a quad-core AMD laptop, which can play Skyrim. So, I mean, although I had to turn the VSync on because you know how it is. For some reason, a laptop from 2017 that can play Skyrim for some reason can't play an NES game without screen tearing. We're gonna talk about that another time. Yeah, you're supposed to jump. You're supposed to grab onto those switches right there. But yeah, you can tell, like, very basic Mega Man-like controls. You can hold up for a cape, shield, but I can't imagine why anyone would expect that to work. But we're not here to talk about ludonarrative dissonance in Disney afternoon video game adaptations. There's a one-up. It's like I said, very Mega Man vibey. You can grab onto platforms and jump on top of them, like in Ninja Gaiden 3, so that's always cool. Strider, another Capcom game, obviously. Come to think of it, Mega Man never really had this ability, did it? And I'd say the controls are about... I think they're a little bit stickier than in Mega Man games, but... Well, than the Mega Man sequels. Because obviously Mega Man 2 is highly regarded for how responsive the controls were. Like, the jumping controls were super tight in that game. So it's always been a very highly regarded game in terms of controls. Like, unlike Mario, which does have a lot of momentum attached to it, it's kind of frustrating for some less experienced gamers, I guess. But I think Mega Man's sort of an easier sell for people who just want the basic controls of a platformer, like super responsive platforming controls. Can I even go that way? How about we just ignore that entirely? Hold up on the D-pad while you're in midair to make sure you grab onto these platforms. I don't know if you need to do that. Yeah, you don't need to hold up. You can just grab onto these platforms anyway. So that works. Yeah, Mega Man. See? That's how you know you're playing a Mega Man game. It's a Mega Man skin. You don't get special abilities from, yeah, there you go. So you hold up to block. So I guess these guys are like hard hats. So 4 does that, huh? Heavy gas and gas energy. Do I have to hold up and B? No. No, that won't work. You can't crouch turn in this game. Boo! You can't crouch turn. Oh well. And you can't slide either. Ow. Yes, you can just shoot and then jump over the projectile. Just a second. I guess I'll splice. Whoops! Wait, I didn't die, did I? I think I just got sent back to where I was. Okay, I think I just got sent back to where I was. Oh well. Yeah, I don't think I lost a life. Yeah, I don't think I lost any lives. Not that I'm complaining. So I just fell. So all this stuff has to be respawned, I guess. Oh well. Remember, this was a game that came out after Mega Man 4, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of feels like I said, in addition to feeling like a Mega Man reskin, it just kind of feels like a... Ow. I'm playing really sloppy now. Probably because I'm trying to get back to where I was. So I guess I did lose a life. Ow! Stupid. You know, you don't get... Apparently, I don't think you get health pickups. Like in Mega Man games. I don't think enemies drop them. So, apparently, the Little Mermaid never got... the Little Mermaid NES game never got a re-release. Again, it's not that it's like a great game or anything. It's just sort of, it's a game you rent and then 2 hours later, and like 90 minutes later, you're done. It's one of those games. Come on. Okay, so I might be able to hit him twice if I knew what I was doing. Yeah, no parallax scrolling here, just competent pixel art, but like some of the characters are well drawn, but the art in this game always felt kind of meh. Again, decent for a Mega Man game. I think this is where I died, yeah. Like the art here is like there's no like large, well drawn robot mini bosses like in the Mega Man games. It doesn't have that spectacle going on either. Ow. No parallax scrolling like in the Mega Man 5 and 6 titles either. Like, I remember at the time when Mega Man 2 came out, it was a big deal because people weren't used to seeing, wow, the enemy just respawned. Can I cheat and, like, force it to not spawn? Can I despawn it by scrolling the screen to the left? Probably not, but I'll worry about that later. Give me that cash. Actually, it's just score. Because, people used to play Mega Man games for the score, right? The first Mega Man game had a scoring system. There was no score in these games. In the Mega Man sequels, obviously. Who's this? Quackerjack. Well, I always thought he was always a lame. He was always a lame villain, like Ammonia Pine. Just super lame. Never got him. You supposed to jump up and get us? Careful. So I don't want to grab onto the container is the problem. Ow. See, I don't want to grab on is the problem. I have to press down after I grab on. Okay, that's the trick. Don't jump. Bastard. Down. You have to press down while you're grabbing on. That's the problem. It's a bit of a timing-based puzzle, if I'm being honest. And getting near the top is a problem. Not dead yet. That crap. Okay, so again, I accidentally jumped. Crap. Going to take one more hit, apparently. Jeez. Hard to get that last hit, isn't it? Got it. So you got to get it as you jump up to the next level or jump down. How many more hits? Because I can't charge this up. Ah, crap. How many more lives I got? Somehow dodge that. Wow, how did he dodge that? I probably have to turn around before I try to hit him. I gotta turn around so I can shoot at him as soon as I get on his level. Or as soon as I traverse levels. Crap. How many more hits do we got? Like I said, Crackerjack was like a bad version of Joker, like just an unfunny version of Joker. I never understood him, other than he was a Joker reference, I guess. I mean, if Darkwing Duck is Batman, you gotta have a Joker. He just wasn't that interesting. I mean, he had a good. I mean, obviously having Michael Bell voice him was a good move, but I mean, just didn't bring anything to the role, unfortunately. I always thought it was a really lame. It was like a really lame Saturday morning cartoon villain, really. Never funny. I don't think he was in any good episodes either. So, meh. I mean, obviously there was the Rogues Gallery episode that he was in, but was he the best part of the Rogues Gallery? No. Who else did they have? They had a Liquidator, who wasn't. Again, he was a sales dude, so I guess his shtick was okay. Come to think of it, the Darkwing Duck ever really... I think the only really good villain they had was Negavolt. And he was only funny in the sense that he had some relative... He was in some very good episodes. But he was always a foil. He was always like a comic foil. He was never like... I would argue he was never really funny on his own. But he had that really sort of... What would you call that voice? That really nasally voice, I guess you would call it. But yeah, a lot of the Rogues Gallery and Darkwing Duck was never really that good. So I got heavy gas. But how do I use it again? I have to press select, probably. Yeah, press select to switch guns. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Ow. Authentic NES sprite flickering. We're good? Yeah, we got the health. That was a problem. Can I get two of them? No, just one. Okay, one more to go. Yeah, what? Careful. Why did I even want that? And the enemy respawned. Amazing. So after all that, the enemy respawned. So again, like decent art, just nothing ridiculously awesome. Just kind of like meh. Cool. Can I get that? Nope. That worked. Him with the heavy gas. Ow, what's arrow gas? Huh. But, one life. Okay. Arrow gas. And there's gas energy, kind of like the special attack energy in Mega Man games. Instead of having a big long meter, you just get a numerical value of how much power you have. So it's easier to know in passing, which I guess makes sense if you're making a game for younger gamers. You just give them simple numbers to have like a big long meter that's hard to parse in terms of precise numeric values. You know what I mean? Missed. Oh, is it only for platforms? So he uses three pips of gas energy. But I can do this. Then whoops! I pressed the wrong button. So I pressed the select button and it went away. Okay. So that works. So you can jump on the grates. So you can grab the grate? Yeah, okay. That's a wrinkle. Can't climb walls though. Okay, get rid of that. So I got heavy gas. Yeah, I gotta say I'm disappointed. I guess I thought this game would be more interesting than it is, but we'll see how it goes. And I don't have the arrow gas, so I can't get up there and grab that, so whatever. It wouldn't be a Mega Man game without the screen going dark. Of course, if you have a CRT, this level's probably easier, because you can see all the shadows, you know what I mean? There's a banana peel. Don't know what that does, but here we go. Can I see this in Metroid? Yeah, so I guess if my gas pellets are bouncing off something, I guess that means I'm killing them. Or stunning them. This is supposed to be a... This is an E-rated game before the rating system. Nintendo Power said that, you know, what was it? Like Ducktales and Rescue Rangers, they were never really made, those Capcom games were never really made for the Japanese audiences, and the games didn't really sell that well in Japan because the Disney afternoon was never really that big of a deal. Like, the Disney afternoon was never really a thing in Japan, apparently. Nintendo Power described the Disney Capcom games as basically just for the American audience. And it wasn't surprising. I mean, obviously, you know, Konami was making like Ninja Turtle games for the American audience, you know. I mean, because I don't think Ninja Turtles was that popular in Japan, obviously, but of course it was massive here in America. But if you're talking about, well, careful. Yeah, look out for the rocks. Okay, so again, tight controls in the jumping, so you can make little hops like that, and you're not gonna get in trouble. You cannot climb hand over hand when you're on the when you're grappling onto something, so you got to keep that in mind too. Ow. Again, what's the point of getting the score? It's like an old school mechanic, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, play for speed run the game and play for score, but just was this like Heatman stage? I get the one up. Got it. How do I get out of here is the question. Yeah, I can't grab onto this. Ah, I think I'm hosed. Let's see if I can grab onto those grates. Ah! Well, that was a waste of a life. I got the extra life and I lost it immediately. How many hits does it take to kill those guys? Ow! Another dumb hit. I think it takes 3 hits to kill those guys with a regular gas gun. Ow! Wow. Taking it in the face, dog. I think this game has unlimited continues, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I recall the PC Engine game looking a lot better than this, but being very poorly regarded in terms of the graphics anyway. I'm like, did the game like not look good? Because in the screenshots, it looked kind of great. But I mean, I'm not saying it was a good game. Like, Tailspin looked great in screenshots, but apparently it just wasn't a good PC Engine game either. So we'll go back to the stage select. Oh, I went to the wrong stage. Can I escape? No, I can't. Alright, fine. So we'll die again, then we'll go back. Because remember, the buttons are kind of flipped here on this controller. I'm playing on an 8-bit Do controller, which is made for the Nintendo Switch. Although it is a multi-platform controller. It works on the it works on Steam, obviously, as well. I mean, a lot of game controllers these days have the USB drivers you need to play on computers. So, like the Xbox One controller also works on computers. So, or the Xbox 360 controller was my regular game controller for a long time. It still is, honestly. I just didn't want to pull it out at this point because I had my this 8-bit Do controller is usually hooked up to my Switch, so it's always ready to go when I want to play a game. Because I just think the button layout is much more convenient than on the joypads. Because I've mentioned this before. If I play games like Warframe, I don't have any gas. I didn't pick up a gas weapon. I didn't pick up a special weapon. But the 8-bit Do controllers, buttons are laid out better. Like, they're laid out like a Super NES controller, except they have dual sticks. So for any game that requires dual stick controls, it's extremely handy. It's like a classic controller on the Wii U. Whoop. Okay, so I didn't take any damage. I just got stunned. I think I take 2 hits from the crow before it goes down. Yeah, 2 hits from the crow, I think. That crap! Maybe I didn't want to grab onto that. So if nothing else, you should know where the enemies are. Careful. Ah! I knew that was coming, too. That took me all the way back to the beginning? You're killing me, dog. So this is Liquidator stage. It has to be. It's a sewer. Didn't Darkwing Duck show up again on the reboot of Ducktales? The David Tennant Ducktales? I mean, I've said this before. I'm a massive fan of what's her name? The one who went to the moon. But I was Della Duck. Yeah, I was a massive fan of her when I saw her supercut. The problem is that I think actually, I think didn't I want to say Gadget Heck Wrench. What's her name? What? Okay, all you nerds know this. You know more about Gadget. You know more about Gadget than you're willing to admit. I believe Gadget's last name is Gadget Hack Wrench or Hack something like that. And apparently she got an origin story on the Ducktales reboot. And I want to say Darkwing Duck and or Gizmo Duck showed up as well. And it kind of made sense because if you remember the original Darkwing Duck, the showrunner Tad Stones apparently did a whole thing where it was like, oh yeah, he's part. It takes place outside of Duckburg. In fact, what was the name of? Okay, the hardcore nerds remember this. What was the name of? Yeah, what was the name of the city where Darkwing Duck patrolled? I don't remember the name of the city. Because it wasn't Duckburg, but it took place near Duckburg. And then eventually Gizmo Duck showed up. I think it was in season 2. Gizmo Duck showed up. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen those Darkwing. I had like a dozen or so episodes of Darkwing Duck on videotape. A lot of them were time shifted from the Disney afternoon airings. I got at least maybe like 15, I think. In fact, there was one episode I really liked that was surprisingly dark, where Darkwing Duck actually, it was like Ghost. It was like Darkwing Duck died. And I forget the details, but I remember being surprisingly compelling for a Saturday morning show from a Disney afternoon series. Because they weren't trying to go like full gargoyles or anything. And I don't think they were even trying to be like, I don't even think they were trying to be like a Digimon like series. But I got the impression that they were trying to do like something like really kind of not tragic, but like, because obviously the whole bit, God, jeez, just taking too many dumb hits. I think the whole bit from the episode was that they couldn't obviously, he was dead, but the whole bit was that he was a ghost and he was trying to get in touch with, his loved ones who obviously think he's dead. I think his girlfriend, what was her name, Morgana? Was it Morgana Dispel or was it Fate? It wasn't Fate or Morgana. Her name was Morgana, right? That was Darkwing's girlfriend, right? The fanfic fuel. But yeah, was it Kath Sushi voiced her, I want to say? Yeah, Kath Sushi, obviously. Who did a lot of female characters for Disney characters back then. Ah, jeez. Just taking dumb hits left and right. Like I said, it's not that hard. I'm just taking dumb hits. Stage select is the attack button. Okay. Can I go back to a level I already did? We'll probably find out later. No. We'll go here. Wolf Duck. Okay, so he wasn't like a mainline villain. He was just in maybe a couple of episodes. I don't remember Wolf Duck, really. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember Wolf Duck. Yeah, I figured the entire... Well, I mean, at some point the entire... I mean, obviously Negaduck's going to show up at some point. Negaduck also voiced by Jim Cummings, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think Jim Cummings was voicing both characters. And I remember having that revelation, like, about a decade ago. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I finally realized Darkwing Duck is basically Daffy Duck from the Chuck Jones cartoons. The greedy, the greedy sort of egomaniacal Darkwing, the greedy egomaniacal Daffy Duck. The one who was always getting in a fight with Bugs, because he was a foil for Bugs, basically. The Duck-a-Muck version of Daffy Duck. The one that Joe Alasky was kind of referencing when he did the Plucky Duck stuff on Tiny Toon Adventures. That Joe Alasky. Which reminds me, doesn't that Out of This World show, because remember Joe Alasky was also playing one of the neighbors in that Out of This World show, which was about the alien girl. Okay, maybe I can't. I was hoping I can run on that. I probably can. Just a second. You don't run too far forward. Crap. Okay, fine. Get off. That's a very short amount of invincibility. Jeez. That's rough. That's an extremely short amount of invincibility. And I have no special weapon. Ah! Took it right in the face that time. guess this game is harder than I thought it was going to be, but I don't remember this stage at all. Like, I only remember the bridge stage. But again, you know, kind of unremarkable backgrounds in this area. I guess this very much feels like a B tier effort, but it's like it feels like a B tier Capcom NES game. Like obviously not Mega Man, but yeah, had to bait him. But at the time, this was one of the best NES games that got released that year because what else were you gonna play? It was basically there was the promise of a Mega Man game for kids. So I mean, it wasn't bad. Obviously, it was just kind of conventional. And the whole vibe was you have Mega Man, we have Mega Man at home, but you don't get any special weapons when you beat bosses. Like it just very much feels like a basic, like it feels like a very basic Mega Man game that's easier. Like an easy Mega Man 1, except you can't collect any special weapons. Thunder Gas. Ugh, this is gonna be rough. This is gonna be really rough. Alright, so we're probably gonna end the video pretty soon. But yeah, I thought I was guessing that I was kind of hoping that the Little Mermaid game would be available, and I figured they might eventually add it on to the Disney Classic games that were on the Super NES, not the Super NES, the new consoles got us some emulated versions of both Aladdin games from Nightwave, so like the Genesis game, the Super NES game, and all the portable versions of those games. Let me back out. I can't do a save scum. I can't do a save scum. Yeah, pause. Okay, so I can do a save scum. Okay. But there's no password in this game, I don't think. Stupid Trapper Keeper graphics. Perfectly in keeping with the spirit of the era, I think we can be honest about that. No filter, the way the goddess Lyneth Valkyrie intended. Yeah, we kept the border. What are you gonna do? Fight me? Okay. So we're not gonna play much more. This is a boss rush. I want to do a boss rush, I guess. What do you think this is? Street Fighter 2? So I did play the remastered version of Ducktales on the Wii U about 5 or 6 years ago. The video is on this channel. But I played DuckTales at a friend's house once. And I kind of wanted to play more of it, but I never got my hands on it, and I never convinced myself I needed to play it again. Rescue Rangers I rented from the video store and beat it in like an hour, maybe less than half of that. The game was incredibly easy. It had very good music. And it was, like I said, I kind of like the pick up a box and throw it gameplay. If you remember no one remembers. Pirate Ship Higemaru in arcades was an early Capcom game. I guess it was like you were basically on you were on a ship and there was a maze. There was a maze of barrels, and the idea was that you can pick up the barrels and throw them. I guess it's kind of like Pengo, which itself was kind of Pengo, which was a Sega arcade game where you could kick ice blocks. So you could basically terraform the entire maze by just tearing down the walls and kicking them at enemies to destroy them. And this game seemed to have that same principle, except it's a side-scrolling game where every box you see you can just pick up and throw it. Which is kind of ambitious for an NES game if you think about it, except a lot of moving objects to have on screen for an NES game, especially in couch co-op. But yeah, it's the kind of game that I'm sure a lot of kids loved playing when they were younger with their siblings and cousins and friends, because it's a game that any of you can pick up and play right now, and you're probably not going to die unless you're careless. It's a very easy to play game. It's the opposite of Contra. Tailspin I've actually never played. Never. I was told when the game came out that it was not very well received by mainstream reviewers when it came out. Like, these two games were very well received when they came out. Tailspin was considered kind of lame, which is disappointing because conceptually it was arguably the best of all of the games. Well, DuckTales conceptually was the best of them all, based on the IP. The idea of the idea of like an action game with aerial combat would sound amazing, but apparently they turned it into a cartoony side-scrolling shooter. It's like really simplistic. So I don't remember. I never played it. It was not very well received when it came out. It probably sold 1,000,000 copies though. Darkwing Duck we already played. Ducktales 2, infamously one of the most expensive NES games on the market. I think it was one of the last NES games, as you can tell right here. These games got released after the Super NES launched here in the United States. So I guess, I mean, they still made a lot of copies and they probably still sold well, but they're harder to find. So they're like, I want to say both of these games, the cartridges without the boxes cost like close to $100 if I'm not mistaken. They might be down in the $80 or $90 range right now, which is far more reasonable, but let's be honest. These games cost $60, I think, when they came out, and they were not considered like very challenging. They were considered games for those poor unfortunate souls whose parents refused to buy Super NESs for them. So their parents dumped these games on them because they didn't want to buy a new console. It kept the kids quiet for about maybe a weekend. And then literally the very next weekend they said, I want a Super Nintendo. And their parents probably said, you have video games at home. Yeah, but they probably beat this game in like a weekend. So those poor kids probably decided to speed run the game for the next year and a half till their parents finally capitulated and bought them a Super Nintendo. But anyway, that was the Disney Afternoon Collection on PC. Downloaded on Steam. I don't know if it's still available. I think the collection got pulled a while ago. But since I already bought it, that's my chance to play it. So I guess we'll play more of these games later. But Darkwing Duck is If I rented it when I was a kid, I probably would have played it for a weekend and then never touched it again. It's fine. It's just meh.